Corporate Finance Core Topic 3, DCF, Debt, and VBA. Learning Objective 5, create user-defined functions using VBA in Excel. So a user-defined function is a saved list of instructions that Excel can use to produce a value. Once created, the function can be used like any built-in Excel function such as PV, FV, sum, price, yield, all the ones you've used so far. Unlike built-in functions, user-defined functions are attached to a particular workbook and are written and saved in modules. Modules are accessed in the VBA Editor. I'll show you how to get there. User functions or user-defined functions have three mandatory elements. They have the header line, which has to start with the word function, make up a function name, and put in the parameters, the inputs. Then you have your program lines, and then you have the closing line, which is always end function. So let's go to, let's talk about this and then we'll do it. So to get to the VBA editor in Excel, make sure you're in Excel and not PowerPoint, because PowerPoint has a VBA editor also. So go to Excel, you're going to hit Alt F11, or go to Developer tab and select Visual Basic. And here's some instructions to get that on your menu. You're going to select Insert Module from the VBA editor, and so it's going to wind up giving it a name, a standard name of Module 1, and then you're going to write a function. So I'm going to write a function, so I'm going to give it the header line. The header line always starts with the word function. I'm going to give this function a name, FVGA, which is Future Value Growth Annuity. I'm going to put in brackets payment, G, R, and T, which are the three parameters. I'm going to have two program lines and then end with the last line, which is always going to be end function. So that always starts with the word function and ends with the words end function. Now the two lines of code, I'm going to start off the first line of code with a single quote. Single quote means comment, meaning everything there is ignored. It's there just to put some documentation there. So I'm going to put a single quote and say this function computes the future value of a growth annuity starting at payment. Or PMT. So I'm going to then put a formula, FVGA equals payment, and put in that long formula we did in an earlier section, and then that's it. Now you can close out of that and just go to Excel and insert the function like you can use any other function. So let's go to Excel. Actually, let's do something first here. I'm going to discard this. I am going to go back to my PowerPoint. I want to copy this function text, copy. I'm going to go to my Excel. Again, I'm going to do Alt F11, or if you have the Developer tab, Developer, Visual Basic. I'm then going to insert module. Now you only do this once per worksheet, so this now has module 1 in there. And then I could either write that code or I can paste it. There it is, function FVGA. There's my parameters. There's my description. Looks like my description, it turned it green. It's because of the single quote. And there's my line. And then I'm just going to close that out. And now I can use that code. So I'm going to go click on my F of X here. And where it says category, I'm going to do a drop down, user defined. I'm going to look for my FVGA, hit OK. Then I'm going to put in my payment, tab that to G, tab to R, tab to T. So the present value of $100 a year, well, $100 starting and growing at 2% per year for 5 years at a discount rate of 10%. And there's my FVGA. Now, anytime you have a worksheet which has VBA, you have to make sure File, Save As, make sure it's saved as a macro-enabled workbook. If I were to just save this as a default Excel workbook, it would actually delete my modules. So I want to make sure that that worksheet is a macro-enabled worksheet, and I'll save that. So in this topic, we calculated, or we computed, or created a user-defined function. Now these user-defined functions will only work in that worksheet, or you're going to have to go and copy this code back into your new worksheet.